Angela Duffel. I am a registered nutritional therapist, maturation coach, executive coach, writer and speaker. I wanted to come on here today and talk to you about conditioning, how we're all conditioned and how we build up layers around us, layers of protection, layers of survival, and how that impacts our lives. And as I was thinking about this, I was actually on holiday and I bought these Russian dolls a few years ago now, and it reminded me of exactly what I'm talking about. That we start off, we're born into the world, and we don't have those layers around us. We're quite free. We scream when we're hungry, when we're tired, when we need our nappy changing. We speak what's true for us. We're not afraid to express any emotion. If you watch a baby, they're completely free to express themselves. And then as we go through life, we learn different mechanisms in order to be loved and belong. And so what happens is we start off as that baby, and then as we grow, all these layers, put all these layers on. And they're different in nature. They'll be different for all of us in terms of how we belong. But we grow up, and then we've got all of these layers that are really hiding a lot. So these layers are very different depending on who we are. It could be that we control everything, that in order to feel safe, and it comes back to safety. That's how kind of primitive it is. It comes back to safety and survival. And when we were young, we don't have the emotional intelligence to work out what's going on around us. So we just pick up these mechanisms. We learn that in order to be loved by the adults around us, we need to be good, or we need to be quiet. Or sometimes it's the opposite. We learn that to get attention, we need to be naughty. That's the only way I know how to get attention. And that kind of builds up in our life, and it becomes these mechanisms. They become these mechanisms that really rule our life, and we're so unconscious of them. We cannot see them because it's how we've lived our whole life. And it can be the survival mechanisms that we have learnt. And it can also be survival mechanisms that have been handed down through generations and generations and generations. You know, through the female line, to be good, not to speak up, to, you know, keep the house tidy and clean, for men not to show their emotions, to be strong. We've learned all of this conditioning. And like I said, it manifests in many ways, but it takes so much of who we are. We don't even know who we are underneath all these layers. We don't know what or who is there underneath these layers. I often use a personal example for me, as I kind of keep peeling back the layers, and they keep coming. I've recently been through a shedding of a layer, and it's not always comfortable, I'll be honest. But something's on the other side. There's always something. You can breathe a bit deeper. Something expands in your being. And as I was doing this work a few years ago, peeling back the layers, and I just sat in the garden and these words came to me. And these words came to me in the form of a poem, and I just wrote it down. And then I remembered how as a child I used to love writing poems. Even as I speak to you in this moment, a memory comes to me of a poem that I wrote about fireworks, and I coloured in all around it. And I'd lost that. Not only had I lost it, I didn't have an inkling that that was inside of me. I had erased it completely. Except you can't erase it completely because it does live within us. But that's how deep it goes. And so you'll often find me writing poetry and reading poetry now. It's part of who I am. But this is how deep those layers can be. This is how deep the conditioning can go. And so it's an invitation to look and to see what ways in the world are these layers showing for you. And like I say, they can show in many ways. I've mentioned some. You know, it can be the good girl, it can be not speaking up. You might have learned that it's not okay to express your emotions, so you keep it all inside and your body becomes really tight. It may be that everything has to be perfect. We talk about perfectionism, but what we don't often talk about is how deeply rooted in survival it is. That unless I get it perfect, I won't be loved. Sometimes it goes as deep as I might die. That sounds dramatic, but that's the survival. It really is that deep. And it comes from fear. We live constantly from a place of fear. We fear not being loved. We fear not being, not belonging. We fear our lives falling out of control, and so we try everything in our power to control everything. And it's ironic because really we don't have any control. So that's a bit about the patterns, the conditioning that is part of being human. And for me, you know, peeling back the layers has given me a deeper sense of freedom, but it's just I can breathe a bit more, that I can notice things in life a little bit more. I can enjoy those little quiet moments of stillness, that I'm not always coming from a place of fear. Now I'm human. We all are, and it does come in, but understanding that all of this comes from a place of fear, and perhaps we can choose something different. And it does take time. It does take time. Like I said, something has shifted incredibly within me over the last few weeks. I've seen something else that I couldn't see before. A pattern of survival that was taking all of my energy, all of my being. And now I can see it everywhere. One of my teachers says, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's definitely what happened for me. It's like I could see it absolutely everywhere. Oh, it's there, it's there. It literally does live your life. We just can't see it. So if you have any questions, you can just pop them in the comments, or you can email me. And if you'd like to come and work with me and start to peel back some of the layers, just get in touch. Thank you for listening today.